not quite sure where to start, having just returned from Rome and the canonization of Saints John Paul and John the 23rd. I'm still a little wowed about it all, but I think it's time now to ask an important question. Often in life when we have major events, we come down after that and we say, now what? You know, it seems to be over. There's been this preparation, this build-up, this great excitement. And now as the canonization's over and these two holy people are declared saints of the church, what's that mean in our life now? As I've reflected about that, I think it's important to understand that the purpose of saints are to inspire us in our own life. And so we look at the lives of St. John Paul or St. John the 23rd and see what they have to teach us. We know that St. John Paul had a very difficult life. His mother died when he was a boy. His brother died a couple of years after that. His father died when he was an older teenager during World War II, when he was pretty much left on his own. Very difficult circumstances to deal with early in life. And yet he becomes a priest, and then he becomes a young bishop. Then he becomes a young pope. And you think, my gosh, what blessings or what success and all. And I think John Paul had to balance that in his own life. And what did he have to teach the world or to teach the rest of us about that? And then he had this amazing pontificate where he just traveled the world. I think to a couple hundred countries, just about everywhere. Some, often more, some more than once. And then he wrote prolifically about our faith and about modern life and modern times and what's the essence of truth. And then he had this long debilitating disease and really died in front of us over a number of years, but very, very difficult. And how does that speak to my life? How does that speak to your life? That has something to teach us. And John the 23rd comes from this large Italian family, 13 children. I think he was fourth or somewhere kind of in the upper middle. And becomes a priest and a bishop, and then has some real challenging times as a bishop going to Bulgaria, and then later to Turkey and Greece, places not really with a lot of Roman Catholics there. And then to France after World War II, just an amazing position, and then becomes the Cardinal Archbishop of Venice, one of the kind of the gems. And to everybody's surprise, he's elected the Pope at an old age and wasn't in the greatest of health. And everybody thought, well, what's he do? And most people thought, well, he's just going to bide his time and pass away, and then somebody new who's younger and been more formed to be Pope would take over. But he had this inspiration, really the Holy Spirit. He famously opened the window that day and said, the church needs renewal. It needs the Spirit to come in and breathe new life into the church. And so what does it teach us if we're in our advanced years? Sometimes we may just want to coast with things. But what does John the 23rd teach us in that? St. Francis famously said at the end of his life, I've done what was mine to do. May Christ teach you what is yours. He's saying, don't walk in my footsteps, but allow Christ's grace and God's grace to help guide you in your life and your footsteps as you walk the way of Jesus Christ. And I think that's what the saints ask us too, not to be them. We have to be ourselves. But how can those lives inspire us daily to be the best person God created us to be? And boy, if we can stick to that, that's a pretty good gift from all our saints.